Samsung launching a new phone is really no news. They do that all the time. However, every once in a while comes a new phone that is explosive in paper, not in real life like the Samsung Galaxy Note 7. And Galaxy C9 Pro is one such phone. In my opinion, it's a very compelling mid-range offering from Samsung. I mean, who wouldn't be excited for Samsung's first phone with 6GB of RAM? So in this video, I tell you about its specifications and at the end some of my opinions about Samsung Galaxy C9 Pro. Let's start. Now, before I start my narration of the specifications, here is something I'd like you to know. To me personally, it doesn't feel like a typical Samsung phone. It does not look like a traditional Samsung mobile device to me, and this dissonance starts at the designing itself. Unlike phones from the A series, which generally try to emulate the design of Samsung's flagships, which generally is glass and metal, C9 Pro instead uses a new design. The front has a 2.5D curved glass, but the sides and the back are made up of metal. Curved metal to be precise. Also, there is some designing going on the camera lens at the back too, plus the antenna bands are visible on top and bottom. The thing is, you do not expect Samsung to make a phone like this. It resembles a phone that a company like Oppo or Coolpad or Leeco is likely to make. I'm not saying that the designing is bad. I'm just saying it's different. Next up is the display, where Samsung seldom disappoints. And this phone has a Super AMOLED Full HD display which looks very good on paper. However, with a 6-inch screen size, it makes it more of a niche. It does not appeal to everyone since it's even bigger than Samsung Galaxy Note 7 in terms of screen size. But when it comes to using the large screen size, Samsung is one of the best companies because it offers you things like multi-window and pop-up widgets, which are embedded into the software itself, which takes us to the next section now. The phone runs on Android Marshmallow with Samsung's own skin on top of it, and in my opinion, it should soon receive an update to Android Nougat whenever it hits other Samsung devices as well. But the highlight of this device is what is inside of it. It comes with the latest Snapdragon 653 processor, which in my opinion is very sufficient. But what makes this phone efficient is the 6GB of RAM on board. Hear me out. Samsung is not a Chinese brand that needs to impress you with its specifications. So when a well-established company like Samsung employs something as crazy as 6 gigs of RAM, in my opinion, it's a sign of better things to come in the future. But more on my opinions later in this video. Right now, I'll talk about the cameras. To be very honest, the primary camera is a lot similar to Samsung Galaxy A9 Pro, which means it's a 16 megapixel lens with f1.9 aperture along with dual LED flash. But it is not flagship quality for sure. However, it's decent nonetheless. But what is the show stealer for me is the front camera. It uses the same megapixel count as the rear one and has the same aperture too, minus the flash. And in my opinion and my belief, it's the highest front camera megapixel count ever employed on a Samsung device, which again brings us to the point that this is a different kind of a Samsung Galaxy phone. Lastly, I talk about features that are left. So you get around 4000 mAh of battery, you get 64GB of expandable storage, you get USB Type-C port at the bottom, you get a 3.5mm jack, which not everyone is offering these days, and you also get support for hi-fi audio codec, which basically brings superior audio quality to your phone. Now that's pretty much all you need to know about the Samsung Galaxy C9 Pro, and now it's time for me to give you my opinions on the same. And here are my opinions. Well, the phone definitely looks amazing in terms of spec sheet and the amount of RAM offered, and at a price tag of 3199 yuan, which is roughly 31,000 Indian rupees, it's a very compelling mid-ranger. But here are my two quick points, personal points. Number one, it seems that Samsung is trying to win over the mid-range market and competing with Chinese manufacturers out there by offering something that you generally find on Chinese phones. 6GB of RAM, better front camera, metal design. These are features that companies like OnePlus and Oppo have employed in the past, which is not necessarily a bad thing as long as users are at the advantage. But what I believe is it blurs the line between a flagship and a mid-ranger for Samsung, considering that the latter one has more amount of RAM and a better front camera than this year's flagship. Second point, however, is that maybe Samsung is trying to experiment with this series. If C series is so robust, I'm eagerly awaiting to see what Samsung offers in its S series next year. Is it gonna even top this one? Is it gonna have 6GB of RAM too? Is it gonna have 8GB of RAM too? Well, only time will tell. And time will also tell whether or not you can buy this phone, because as of now, the phone is only available in China and Samsung is mum about its availability in other parts of the world. Do let me know, however, in the comment box below what you think of C9 Pro and whether or not you would want to see it in your country. Also, do not forget to like this video and share this video with your friends. And if you haven't already, do hit that subscribe button. My name is Sid. Keep seeing me. Ciao.